Welcome to the Mild Opinion Podcast. I'm Logan.
And I'm Luke.
And today we're going to be talking about a rather controversial current topic, Season 5 of Stranger Things plus the finale.
Yes.
What were your initial thoughts?
So we've talked about this a little bit, but overall I think we both agree Volume 1 was the strongest because it felt the most like the same direction it had been going, and then Volume 2 kind of dropped the ball a little bit, and it started to be like, there's not a lot of time to fit the rest of this in, and then the finale is just, there were some high moments, but it wasn't enough, and it feels like they really kind of just didn't know how to wrap up a lot of it. Which, yeah, it's not to say that there's nothing to like in it, or that there aren't things that, like, you can find satisfaction in, but it just was not what I had hoped, and I know that a lot of people feel that way, to a point where there's a mass online theory that it's not even real, so yeah.
Yeah. And we've talked about this a little bit before, how before Season 5 came out, we were like, yeah, there's like a lot of stuff that they're going to need to wrap up in this one season. And I think what we were afraid of kind of came to fruition, because that was pretty much what ended up happening, is there wasn't enough time in the episodes, and we didn't have enough content to wrap everything up in a solid way.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. And, like, people have been talking about it online too, and like asking the Duffer Brothers and everything, like, you know, what about this plot hole? What about this that you missed? How come this never got brought up again? And they're kind of just shrugging their shoulders at it. But it's like, man, for a show that's like been running for this long, and it like is a massive success, a massive project, and it's been going on for like 10 years, you can't just, put a half-hearted ending on it. Because, like, something like that is just, like, some shows, like, you can do, like, oh, yeah, like, this last episode, like, a quick wrap-up, like, that's it, you know what I mean? But this is not that kind of show. Like, there's so many details, so many things that, have come up that they just never discussed or talked about again. And, they said that they're going to be open to a Stranger Things universe, but... And, like, that's fine. Like, some of the stuff can be wrapped up or, like, revealed in later projects. But as far as Stranger Things, like, this show goes, it didn't get wrapped up the right way either, which is very frustrating.
Yeah, and another thing that's just I don't understand about Season 5 as a whole is it felt like there were so many things said about it by, like, the cast and the Duffer Brothers, of, there's going to be some major deaths, and it's going to be a really dark season. And it's like, honestly, I wouldn't even call it the darkest season after watching that. Like, it just, at a certain point, felt like there aren't really any stakes, because Vecna's whole plan in Season 4 seemed like, oh my gosh, like, if we don't stop him, like, the whole world ends, and it's like, so after that, he vanishes and then starts his true master plan, which I'm still not even sure. Like, it just was weird. And then there were so many explanations and stuff that were just thrown in so quickly to be like, okay, this is like the quickest way to make it make sense. Of where it's like, oh yeah, the Upside Down, it's a wormhole caused by this exotic matter, and it's just to bridge us to there. And it's like, okay, why though? Why does it cause a big bridge between, like, our world and the Abyss? Like, why that? Why did 11 on the day that Will Byers went missing cause the Upside Down to be created, as opposed to in the past when she just threw him straight into the Abyss and stuff? There's so many little things like that where it seems like they were like, well, what's something that we could just kind of give as a brush off answer to all of those, where it's like, oh well, it wasn't the same though.
Yeah.
And that's just frustrating to me.
Yeah. Well, and also the ending of season 4, the stakes were so high. That in battle and everything, the gates opening for, Vecna's plan and all that, like the stakes were incredibly high. And then they kind of just washed all of that away. Like none of that mattered. Like what happened to Max didn't matter. I mean, I guess the only thing that kind of carried into, season 5 was like the gates being open, so then the Demogorgons could, just show up anywhere.
Yeah.
Which that was cool. But like the rest of it, like the stakes were, everything that had happened is just like, the military covered it up, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then, Max comes out of her coma and she's fine. Like, which,
Yep.
I don't want. I didn't want Max to be permanently disabled and blind, but like, she's just like, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm cool now. You know what I mean? Like none of that meant anything.
And yeah, there's just a lot of little things, and I don't want the whole our whole discussion here to be just us being like, well, here's everything wrong with it, but there were so many moments where it just was like, my God, somebody just sat and rewrote the same dialogue over and over and over again to make it sound emotional.
Yeah.
And I felt it the most in Volume 2 when Max was trying to get Holly and herself, like, out of Vecna's mind. There's this, like, whole scene where they finally have their, like, exits.
Mm-hmm.
And she gives, like, this 5-minute speech to Holly over and over again. And she must have repeated the end of her own sentence, like, 6 times in this. She's like, you saved me, Holly. You saved me. You're my hero. You're my hero. And it's just like, God, just say it once. She gets it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, and another thing, and we can get into some other bits about it and stuff, but another thing that I saw somebody post online, is that, like, obviously it's, like, very, the show's well done and everything, like good quality and all that. But a lot of it just seemed like, and it's just like the details and stuff, like the stuff they missed, like the plot holes, stuff like that. But like as you're watching the show, like the details, like the upside down and all that, with like the Demobats and stuff not coming back at all, and then the like the vines in the upside down, they don't move anymore. The part of like Dimension X, or I guess it was, I don't even know. It's not Dimension X. That would have been Vecna's mind, I guess. In Vecna's mind, where it's like all red, where like the portals are for them to like leave Vecna's mind and all that. So much like less detail was in this season and stuff. Like it looked way worse compared to how it was in season 4 and stuff like that. And it's just stuff like that. It's just like, man, why did the quality of the entire show just dip so much for this final season?
I definitely agree with that. Like, it just didn't look as good. Like, Upside Down isn't scary anymore. And the Abyss, even when you first see Vecna there in season 4, it seems so, like, vast and, like, there's so much mystery and stuff to it. And then in this season, it's just like, oh, it's just kind of a desert. And nothing is there. Not even anymore. No Demogorgons are there. No Demobats. Nothing. Where are they? Because they weren't in the Upside Down.
Well, and also something that got pointed out was in the Abyss. Like when we've seen it in the past, like it's kind of like a like yellowy desert kind of thing, but like it's also like still like shadowy and stuff.
Yeah.
Now it just literally looks like a desert. Just like a wide open desert. Like there's like, it's not shadowy, it's not scary at all. It's just a desert.
And it was kind of like raw what you expect the Upside Down to be, which is just like that red lightning crap and all those like floating stones and crazy stuff like that. And it makes me sit there and I'm like, is the whole Abyss just this one spot?
Yeah.
Because, like, is it just wherever what's going on with the Mind Flayer is, because in season 4 they made it sound, when Vecna's talking about it, like he spent years exploring this place and like found so much, and then in the end it's just like, no, it's just this big like crater in a big desert.
Yeah.
And
and that's the other thing though, is that the people online have been talking about, like, there's no Demobats at all. Where did all the Demogorgons and the Demodogs go and all that? Which, I mean, that's a good point, because that was a big thing when he first went to the Abyss. When Henry first got sent there, he spent all that time exploring and all that. He came into contact with the Mind Flayer, which, cool, whatever. But also, like, there were like a ton of like Demogorgons, Demodogs, whatever, like everywhere.
Yeah.
And then, final battle, they're just nowhere to be found. They're just gone.
Yeah. And yeah, they made all of the bad stuff. Even Vecna by the end, it's just like, he's not the same, because I think there are a few things which looked better, which is Vecna looked better the whole season, I think, than he did in the previous season, just by intimidation factor, because he just looked bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole vine stuff that he can do is cool.
Yeah.
And the monster at the end looks great.
Mm-hmm.
But it is just like, so it's just a big monster? That's your plan?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And it would be a lot scarier if they got to the Abyss and instead of one big monster, there's an army of Demogorgons waiting there.
Yeah.
Because that was said when Nancy was talking about... in season 4, after like Vecna threatened her and stuff, she said that she saw an army of Demogorgons and stuff. Where is that? And then in interviews, people have asked the Duffer Brothers, where are the bats? Where are the Demogorgons? They're like, well, they took Vecna by surprise. And it's like, wasn't Vecna actively moving
leading the
Abyss?
charge?
Yeah. So, yeah, it really, as I was watching the finale and stuff, it kind of made me sit there and be like, wow, season 1 of this really was a small town like mystery where it was a singular creepy weird monster going around, and now it's this, and it just got too much. It crushed itself under its own like reach.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that got pointed out too, a plot hole that, or I guess it's a plot hole, but it's just something that they missed, was when they were in the Upside Down in season 4, and I heard that like loud like rumbling roar, and everybody, like, they acknowledged it. They were like, what was that? They're like, oh, something not good. You know what I mean? It was something along those lines.
Yeah.
But then like, and everybody's like, oh, well, that must have been the meat monster Mind Flayer. But that thing was never alive until the final battle, so it wasn't that. So what was that?
Yeah. And this is another thing too. This is like a personal gripe just about the story that I have. It's really disappointing to me that the Upside Down isn't just the Upside Down, because I think that it was a lot more interesting just as that, instead of like, oh, it's just this in-between place, and then on the other side of it is absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It was a lot more interesting when it was actually what they initially described it as, which is like a dark reflection of the world. Because then it is like, okay, why is there all these horrifying monsters and stuff in it?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Instead, it was like, no, it's just the bottom part of our world, and then there's the same thing on the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Well, also, the Upside Down is just so much more interesting than the Abyss. Like, there's nothing in the Abyss.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing cool about it. It's a desert with the Mind Flayer and the Demogorgons.
Yeah. And I'm kind of going off of, like, our own speculation about this that I think we talked about in a previous episode. I liked the idea a lot more that when Vecna first got sent to the Upside Down, that what we saw him, like, in season 4, if that was actually the Upside Down just before it, like, had a shape or something, I think that would be way cooler, instead of, like, no, it's this other place, and then the Upside Down is kind of just this underwhelming bridge.
Yeah.
Which is just weird.
I mean, I don't know. I can go on and on about the issues that I had with how this show wrapped up, because it's, in my opinion, there are highlights, like there are good parts of it, but in my opinion, like the way that it wrapped up, the storyline itself was just unbelievably underwhelming.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was some good stuff too. Like I liked season 5 for like pure entertainment value. Like it was good. I mean, the characters are all awesome. You know what I mean? Like that's nothing really went wrong with that. And I mean, volume 1 was pretty awesome, just through and through. Like I didn't mind volume 1.
Yeah.
Still, like a couple things. Like I kind of had a gripe about how they immediately were like, oh yeah, by the way, everything that happened in season 4, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But and then I don't know. Volume 2 was all right. I don't know. It was okay. I mean, yeah, when they're learning stuff, like they're exploring the Upside Down and all that, like it's fine. You learn about the Abyss and the, wormhole stuff, and like that's cool, I guess. But whatever. And then the actual finale is just the one where I'm like, man, that's so crazy.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, Volume 1 definitely was it at its best, but I know I felt this way. I feel like no character in all of Season 5 had any amount of the right amount of screen time or, like, personal story to them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that hasn't been a huge problem in previous seasons. Like, it kind of has with, like, Will kind of, like, taking the back seat and like Mike not being used as much after season 1. But I feel like each season Hopper's got a good storyline. 11 at least has a storyline where it's like it's very important, and Nancy's usually got some cool stuff. Steve's usually off on some crazy thing going on.
Yeah.
And in this one it's just like everybody's kind of like, all right, what do we do? How do we kill Vecna? What's the plan? I'm going to shove all this stuff off this desk and slam down these 2 things I'm going to use to explain, like, this is Vecna and this is us. I got to the finale, and Hopper's giving this good speech to 11 about, like, you don't have to kill yourself for this to happen. And I'm like, this is the most he's said all season. Yeah. Where has he been? Other than that, he's like, I'm going to blow myself up.
Yeah.
So, with him, that bothered me the most, because I feel like Hopper's been such a, like, emotionally heavy core.
Mm-hmm.
And so has 11, evenly. And I know people have thought, like, some of her storylines have been boring. And I understand that, but it was still, like, 11. This time she's just this, like, action hero going around and stuff,
I agree. And I mean, I don't know. Like, the Will storyline and all that was pretty awesome to see, the kind of like the Will comeback.
Yeah.
Because, it's all about him again, that was pretty cool. And I liked the hive mind stuff and like him being connected. He could like help. That was cool. But, the rest of them, I mean, I think a bright spot character-wise was Lucas. He had a pretty good little bit there, which I mean they kind of ramped him up in season 4 too, because he kind of took a backseat for most of the show until season 4, and then
he was kind of just like very supporting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think he had a pretty good part in season 5, like the stuff with Max, and then after the Wheelers were attacked. When they were all in the hospital and stuff, and he was like, yeah, the coincidences, I don't believe in all that. And, he was a very good voice of reason in this season. So that was pretty cool. Mike was pretty much useless the entire time this season.
Yeah. He didn't do anything. It bothered me from the first episode that both of his parents got into, like, critical condition. His sister went missing, and the only family member he's, like, sure of is Nancy, who's actively freaked out about it and stuff. Yeah. And he didn't seem to react all that much to it. It really bothered me, because I was like, maybe he's just one of those I'm not gonna show a lot of emotion under extreme stress, people. But then he's like cracking jokes and stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this heartless guy, and it even kept on until the epilogue of the whole show, honestly. So,
and then, and, you know, he didn't do anything the entire time, and then they're like, yeah, but we're going to have the most emotionally distressing part of the show right now. He's going to lose Elle, and then he's going to be, you know, the focal point of the epilogue when they're all going on their way. And I'm like, well, now I don't even care because he hasn't done anything.
Yeah. Also, there were two things in the last episode which were just unbelievably corny to me, which was the whole, like, Nancy, Jonathan, Steve, and Robin on top of the radio station scene. I was sitting there, I was like, good God, like, we couldn't have written anything more interesting for them to say other than, like, man, remember the good times? Yeah, what are you all up to? Every month, once a month. And then this was actually, like, in the actual action of it, Joyce dropping the F-bomb to kill Vecna, I felt was so... It felt like I was watching an Avengers movie, and they were like, alright, this is the perfect time to use our PG-13 F-bomb.
You get your one F-bomb.
Yeah. I'm like, you didn't need to say that. And it's like, I understand Joyce being mad about it, but I feel like she wouldn't have even Joyce in previous seasons wouldn't have even taken the time to say that. She would have just started hacking.
Yeah, I agree. Also, one thing that I learned in season 5 is apparently everybody hates Ted Wheeler. No one cared at all that he was hospitalized.
No
one checked on him. No.
The poor guy.
Everyone hates Ted Wheeler.
Like, sure, he kind of went down easy, but he didn't back down from a Demogorgon. He smacked it in the face with a golf club, then got thrown through a wall. And then in the end, he's just sitting there like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, well, it's something we've talked about in the past, but now that, like, the whole show is out, I wanted to, like, re-ask you, what do you think your, like, ranking of the seasons would be?
Well, 5 is last, for sure. Man, oh man. See, but now, I feel like my ranking has changed a little bit, because now my opinion is skewed.
Yeah, mine's changed, definitely.
But I feel like the reason mine is skewed is because I've been reminiscing about the seasons 1 through 3 nostalgia, so I'm like, because the more that I've been seeing people talk about it too, the more they've brought up the fact that they're like, oh yeah, like, ever since, like, the military and, like, Vecna, which I guess the military was always in it, and that was fine up in, like, season 3, but, like, season 4, and, like, Vecna and all that, and then it becomes, like, super science-y, and that's when the whole vibe of the show changed, in kind of for me at least, a negative way, but anyways, 5 is last. Probably 4 just because nostalgia's getting me.
Yep.
And then 2, 3, and then 1.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly my same ranking. But honestly, I think 1 and 3 are close for me, closely followed by 2. I used to have season 4 at my number 2 spot, but that's definitely shifted after season 5, because it's just like, this just made me really nostalgic for when the Mind Flayer was the actual big bad and not just basically like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But it really made me be like, I miss when it was actually small town, and then I think season 3 itself was the perfect amount of, yes, it's still like small town, but it's right on like the jumping off point to hear some crazy stuff happening.
Yeah.
And it felt natural in season 3, to me at least, of like bringing in a new threat of like, oh, the Soviet Union is taking an interest in this, which is like, oh god.
Yeah.
But then after that, everything just exploded, which was fine. And when season 4 came out, it was like, wow, I can't believe for how far everything's spread out, they have it like seemingly locked down. And then in season 5, it was like, but they didn't know how to like reel it all back in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say 5, 4, 2, 3, 1, and
Yep.
I still will like die on the hill that the Mind Flayer as just the big bad shadow thing in the sky was a better villain to me than Vecna.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Do you have any shifts in favorite characters after season 5 or anything like that? I think mine through and through, my favorite character is still Hopper.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just stuck with. I like Hopper a lot. Steve is up there for me. I don't know. I feel like my Robin ranking kind of went down. I liked Robin a lot earlier, and then now I'm like, I don't know. The way that they wrote her character in season 5, I'm like, I guess she was a good like supporting character, but also I'm like, why is pretty much everything that comes out of your mouth just stupid in this season?
Yeah, and yeah, in season 3 when she got introduced, she had like a real, almost like backbone quirkiness to her, and then in season 4, that went down a little bit, but it kind of like leveled out just because it seemed like season 4 took a lot more time with everybody, and then this season is just a weird thing with her character.
Yeah.
I will say, season 5 made me like Will more, up like across the board, because even back in our favorite seasons, he's mainly not in it all that much, apart from like season 2. And then this season they actually gave him stuff to do and an actual like arc to him, which I thought was important. And I kind of wish he got the final blow against Vecna, because I would have felt like that was more full circle. But he definitely went up in my overall ranking. I wish that more characters stayed up and up as far as I had them, but I feel like honestly across the board most of my characters I liked less.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was just disappointing to see. This season just unfulfilled a lot of what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And you know, there's the like less than 1% chance of conformity gate happening and fixing everything.
Yeah. Like we talked about, just a little quick sidebar, because we're probably running out of time, but
fine.
A quick sidebar, conformity gate, like we said, I just, as much as I want there to be like a better ending, and as much as I want like one last go at Stranger Things, I just, even if conformity gate is real, I feel like that's just too muddy, it's too much of a mess.
Yeah, and it would raise questions like, did we purposely make it bad so that we could come back and be like, no, it was just a joke?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, because, we talked about before we started this, everybody's like, oh, that would be like the greatest twist in TV history and stuff, and I'm like, so you just made on purpose, you just made the worst season of the entire show, just so you could be like, but look at this ending, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Because also, another thing is like, yeah, right now that would be cool, but once it's all said and done and everything's out, like the rewatch factor on that means nothing that it came out after. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't mean anything.
Oh, and I'll have one more point too about like the actual story of season 5. After watching this entire show and knowing like the trend of the show, I am of the mindset that 11 lived, because for the amount of doubt they place in your mind of her being dead, the only inkling of Hopper not being dead when he blew up the machine in season 3 was that his body wasn't there as it was exploding, and people were like, well, Hopper's clearly not dead. And now I'm like, there's so much evidence, like they're pointing the kryptonite stuff at her fingers twitching like 8's was when she pulled the illusions. and she wouldn't have been able to like talk to Mike. And I'm like, there's no way. I don't think that she died.
Yeah.
I could see what I understand what people are saying about it being like a coping thing for Mike, but I'm like, nah, she's alive. I don't buy that at all.
I was kind of, yeah. Well, I mean, nobody important died. So I'm like, what reason would I believe that they made her die?
Yeah.
You know, which...
Also, one more thing about that. The whole point of the show has her been feeling like she's responsible for, like, everything. And kind of, like, everybody in this group being like, no, like, we'll fight for you, you don't understand, you don't have to, like, take it all on alone. And then, for such a, like, lackluster reason for her to stay behind, I understand more so the thought going through her mind of, like, I just need to, like, let them go and, like, take myself out of the equation and, like, running away than being like, I'm gonna just let myself die in the Upside Down.
Yeah.
That just annoys me.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, whether or not she's alive at this point doesn't really matter to me at all. I mean, maybe she'll come back later, probably in something else, probably not.
Stranger Things, the movie in like 2036.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. The whole thing, I'm just like, man. But also, that's something that annoyed me as well. It's like, before season 5 came out, like, the Duffer Brothers and the whole cast, and I mean, you mentioned this earlier, like, they were all like, it's dark, it's the darkest one, it's the darkest season by far, there's so many deaths, everybody dies, and, you know, no one lives, and whatever. But then, nobody died, and it was probably the least dark out of any of the seasons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did you say all this? It was like a red herring, except instead of switching it and, you know, it being all cool and stuff, you done the opposite. You just made it sound cool and made it terrible. Yeah. Like, why would you do that?
Well, I mean, and this will probably be the last thing I say about it, but, like, thinking through each season individually, too, there's characters who it's like, yeah, a lot of the time it's the person who just got introduced who die, but they at least made it, like, at least devastating for that person to die. So, like, in season 1, it's just Barb, I'm pretty sure, but it's because Barb is so, like, innocent. And then in season 2, it's Bob, who was, like, such a, like, charming and good guy. And then it's Billy, they gave, like, a whole redemption thing to him. And then Eddie, who, like, the whole season is, like, just always fun while you're watching him. And then this season, it's just like, where's the dark? What?
Yeah.
Like, is it dark because Vecna's planning on killing everybody? Like, he killed a lot of military guys, but I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care about those people at all. I mean, I guess Volume 1 of Season 5 was kind of dark just because of, like, what happens, like, the Wheelers and everything.
But at the end, a year later, it's okay, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that thing we all forgot happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, not very great.
Yeah. Well, do you have any closing thoughts with Stranger Things?
I mean, I guess we'll see if Conformity Gate is real.
Yes. Tonight we should see.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't very impressed with season 5. I wasn't impressed with the finale, the wrap up of the entire show that we spent so much time on being that incredibly underwhelming.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess they've been talking about making new stuff, like spin-off stuff and all that, and making it all part of the Stranger Things universe, as they said. But if they do make new stuff, I guess I don't want them to continue in this direction. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I want them to get back to the roots where it started. Some of that kind of charm and, you know, but yeah, I mean, that's it. I don't know. I don't really have much else to say other than disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a whole lot to say. I think overall season 5 was harmful to, like, the enjoyment of the show if I was to, like, go rewatch it now. It had high moments, but it didn't really make up for like the lower moments.
Mhm.
And I can't say it's like a victim of the hype either, because previous seasons that's been the worry, and then they overcame that, and they didn't have to make that big of a leap to overcome it.
Yeah.
For this, honestly, it just felt lazy at certain points.
It felt lazy, and it felt. One last thing I'll bring up. It felt like at every juncture where you're like, okay, they like the directors, the writing, they could make a decision here. They could either go good or it could go bad. And every time they got to one of those points, they took the easiest, cheapest way to explain stuff. Just like, storyline wise, like what the Upside Down actually was. Well, easy, lazy way to explain what this is. Just everything. The fight. Easy, lazy fight. Like, everything about it. Just, if it got to one of those points, it was lazy, and it was not well done. Not explained, all too fast. Like, the pacing was terrible on, like, every single bit of stuff like that. Too fast, lazy, the cheapest way to, explain that kind of stuff. And that's what it was. That was the theme of the whole, final season.
Yeah. It was just, what's easy? Oh, that makes sense. Oh, wouldn't this be cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of, this will really blow it out of the water if we
Yeah.
do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's all for Stranger Things. This has been the Mild Opinion Podcast. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.